Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is March 4th. Oh my god, it's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been sick. Kids have been sick. Not fun times. Anyway, today's March 4th, like I said, and today's episode is going to cover a whole lot of stuff, but maybe not in as much depth as I would have if I was doing it every day. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Consensys, the SEC dropping their lawsuit. We're going to be talking about Safe front end and the IMC, how it's using that. We're also going to be talking about our ETH discount, Star initiative update, ETH Denver update, a whole lot of stuff happening in Ethereum with Etherealize and the Ethereum Foundation and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so the biggest news for Rocket Pool here is this case against SEC. No, the case from the SEC against Consensys has been dropped, and this is really, really huge news. Now, you might remember that this is the case in which MetaMask was being sued, and Consensys was being sued because of MetaMask, and one of the problems the SEC had with MetaMask was that it offered ways to stake your ETH using Rocket Pool's RETH or Lido's STETH. And that was one of the areas of problems that the SEC had with MetaMask. They weren't coming after Rocket Pool or Lido specifically, but they were coming after Consensys, and they were mentioning Rocket Pool and Lido in that pursuit. So that was not good. Of course, recently, a whole lot of lawsuits and cases and investigations against the SEC that the SEC started against crypto companies have been dropped, and this one was the one that we, as the Rocket Pool community, were waiting for, and here it was. Now, Joe Lubin, of course, who's the founder of Consensys, says that he's pleased to announce the SEC have agreed in principle that the securities enforcement case concerning MetaMask should be dismissed. Blah 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 blah. Great stuff. So he says you can go back to 100% building. 2025 is going to be the best year yet for Ethereum, and Consensys paradigm shift to a much more decentralized world is accelerating. Now, this is obviously really, really great. It's really been cool to actually see just how much more Joe Lubin has actually been tweeting. He is one of the biggest voices in Ethereum, and he's someone who has, I think, over 330,000 followers, which is, a huge number of followers. And, his voice is something that people listen to, and he just hasn't been public for a while. And I've seen him tweet more and more, which is really, really awesome. So great stuff. And of course, in the Rocket Pool community, Jasper was ecstatic with this news. He says Rocket Pool is free. A deep seed of doubt and worry over my head has dissipated. This is victory for our ETH and DeFi. And then he says again, this is victory. Our ETH was accused of being a security, and now the skies have cleared. So this, of course, like Jasper says, you can't understate this enough. For Rocket Pool, this is really huge news. This is monumental even. It means that some doubt that people had over Rocket Pool, over our ETH, has now gone away. And, we can grow and get better every day. Okay, so there was a whole lot of drama that happened last week with ByBit, and there was a lot that I was going to cover in this story here. But one of the things that's happened that's impacted the Rocket Pool protocol is the safe, Gnosis safe, and the problems that it had with this front end during the ByBit hack, and the theft of $1.5 billion worth of ETH. Now, Valdov here said that the IMC and the GMC were not going to be using, the IMC was not using Safe in that first instance when we had one of our transactions to go through, so we used an alternative front end for that, and now Val actually set up new guidelines for setting up going through the Safe. So he says there's new best practices from the Safe folks, and this proves that the data on the front end is needed to actually sign. And then the IMC was ready to sign more of its transactions based on finding out that information with the front end. So what actually happened? Hasib here from Dragonfly, he had an update for us telling us what actually happened. He says ByBit just released their audit report of the hack, And the compromise was not with ByBit, but it was with Safe servers. It looks like they hot swapped the Gnosis Safe user interface with a JS code that only targeted ByBit's cold wallet, independently confirmed by Wayback Machine snapshots. So the Lazarus group is on another level. So here there was the report that came out from ByBit, and they said it was the Safe front end that basically was targeted and hacked, and that is what they used to drain the ByBit ETH, which is truly astonishing when you think about it. So the story, as far as I know, what happened is that there was a developer working with Safe who had his keys, not his crypto keys, but like AWS, the Amazon Web Services keys, compromised. And using that compromise, the Lazarus group were able to change the signing on the ByBit wallet in the way that basically gave them control over the crypto if a transaction was put through. And then as soon as that happened, they were able to drain the $1.5 billion worth of ETH, which was quite shocking. So yeah, the IMC took steps to safeguard against that, and the GMC are going to do their transaction in about 9 days' time. So then they will, I'm sure, make sure that they're following the best practices as well. But we're small fish; no one's coming after us in the same way. This is one of those situations where you know that you've got something really incredible. Like from the hacker's perspective, obviously it's evil and horrible, and these guys should be punished to the full extent of the law. And what they did is despicable, and fuck them. I'm just making that clear. But from their perspective, they got their hands on something that was gold, and they were holding onto that ticket with dear life up till the point where they realized that ByBit moved around this ETH at semi-regular intervals, and that was going to be in a way that they could intercept that, and that's what they used. So the fact that they burned that ticket, they got the $1.5 billion for it, which from their perspective is incredible, but that's been burned now. So hopefully that particular method of attack won't be successful again, but we should be really careful with how we interact with all DeFi. Okay, here we have an update from SignalXU, who says, "Hi community, here's the last week's update of the STAR program," and then there's a link to the forum. So let's actually just go to the forum and have a look at the update from SignalXU there. So the Arbitrum deal, we talked about this on Rocket Fuel, it fell through. There wasn't a deal really, it was an application for a grant. They went with Lido, Aave, and Fluid instead of with Rocket Pool and others. Superchain Treasury, so people have been doing analysis saying after analyzing Superchain's current Treasury ETH holdings, only Optimism and Base have significant ETH revenue. Leads for both foundations have been added. And then there's the virtual Treasury as well. So Destroyer submitted their Treasury information, but the Treasury page that was previously live and reportedly held a few hundred ETH, but the page is currently down. Then the STAR initiative was tweaking pitch deck marketing materials. And then there was a GMC proposal preview with two proposed adjustments submitted last week are under review and voting by the GMC, and the updates will be provided once that's finalized. And then upcoming plans include, if the initiative program is confirmed, it will be better to collaborate with native protocols within each L2 ecosystem to optimize treasury strategies and reevaluate the messaging for the STAR program to enhance its market presence. And here some of the work came out from Sleety's work. And here you can see that he's got marketing material about ENS having 13.4% of their treasury in RETH, and then it has information about Rocket Pool's decentralized features such as technical decentralization, governance decentralization, and decentralized token distribution as well. So there's some nice stuff there, and I'll keep these updates coming for you all. Okay, let's go back to the Discord here, and we see that the RETH discount went to 0. Which was absolutely wonderful to see. And not only did the discount go to 0, but it also started filling the buffer a little bit. So, that was really healthy to see. However, that was a few days ago. And since then, I think the discount is back to a small extent. Yeah, nearly 0.5%. So for those of you who have been waiting to ARB the discount, then there's a chance for you to do that. However, it looks like it's the market conditions that are breeding people leaving LSTs, and you can see that there's a 0.5% discount for RETH, but Swell has a bigger discount of 0.055%, and even Coinbase has 0.3% discount. The only one that's holding strong is Lido on that small list there. So, we were back at peg for a brief, short, beautiful while, but now we're back off peg with a very slight depeg of about 0.5%. But I'm sure that people who are exiting their validators will arb that and hopefully get us back to close back to peg soon. Okay, let's talk about ETH Denver. So ETH Denver obviously happened last week. I was off sick, so I didn't really get to cover much of it. But here, I was just gonna go through quick photos on the page, and here Ken had a photo of the team landing in Denver, and then there were more photos of patches at our workshop, people talking about food. Here Ken was meeting up with people in Denver as well. Then there was lines everywhere to get into different places. Here Stella were advertising at the aquarium. And this was one of the big complaints that people had actually, was that it didn't feel like an ETH conference, but it felt more like a crypto conference with so many alt layer ones that were kind of shilling their bags, and even had people having anti-ETH sentiment on the stage at ETH Denver, which was just like kind of mind-boggling for it to be an ETH conference and that kind of messaging to be put out there. Anyway, here Ken says that the more ETH Denver lines is super packed this year. And then here there's Dave and Grant and I guess lots of other strangers at one of the events. And here's Langers and Thomas getting food from a truck. And then here, Formal Factor, Langers was on stage during one of their talks, and this is future of re/staking. And Kane was then sharing the same pictures, and then just like some pictures of the environment around Denver and different community members and team members, and lots of partying stuff that was happening. And you can see there's lots and lots of pictures here. The Cybertruck with the Doge stickers all over it, and Song of Day Man with the opening ceremony, and more Song of Day Man. And then there's this team getting In-N-Out burgers, and that's the team heading to Sport Castle. Another Cybertruck, this time with Bitcoin logos on there. More and more stuff. So there was I think some people had fun. Some people were disappointed with the amount of non-ETH stuff that was getting front stage presence at ETH Denver. But overall, it looks like it was a really nice event, for the people who went. And it wasn't, I think, nice enough that I got FOMO about going, but that's okay. Here's the team members having a nice lunch and just like playing table football, foosball. And I think this is at the Rocket Pool event later on that day. And then there was a summary of the different days and events that Ken got from Grok, and that was it. So I think it ended up being a really nice event for those people who came. Here, Alien Bite says, "Thanks, guys. Was awesome to meet most of you." So that was really cool to see. Okay, moving on to some staking news now. The big thing with the staking news is that we have updates of the clients. So Nethermind has 1.31.2, and this is for Pectra and so Pectra hard for Sepolia. That's scheduled to go through on March 5th, although I don't have an update on that, if it's still going to go ahead of March 5th or not. Here we have a Geth update, and this is 1.15.4. It says you need to upgrade to this release to be compatible with the Pectra hard fork on Sepolia, which they give the same date as well. This was 3 days ago. And then there was a Nethermind update, and this was mandatory for Pectra hard fork on Chiado, which is, I think, the Gnosis chain mirror. And there was one for Nimbus as well, but I don't know where that's gone. So there was a Nimbus update as well, and that was version 25.3.0. So yeah, if you are any of those clients and if you're on the testnets, then get updating to those. Yeah. There's an update from NodeSet here about xRPL, which is the token that has come out of Constellation. You deposit your RPL, you get xRPL, which is a value accruing token against the RPL, kind of like our ETH versus ETH. And here we have an update saying that the xRPL is now on CoinGecko. but incentives aren't live yet, and hopefully we'll get an update about incentives soon. And then Wonder as well was at ETH Denver saying if anyone was around, let us know, and we're there on the Saturday. But if you have a look, this is the Coingecko page for Constellation staked RPL, and they've got like a little price chart and stuff there as well. So if you want to track that information, it should actually, this means that it should show up in your portfolio apps now. So if you have Constellation staked RPL, then you can put that in there and it should give you a value. Okay, let's move on to some Ethereum news now. And we had some really big Ethereum news over the last week, pretty much. And the biggest one was that we have new Ethereum Foundation leadership. This is with Aya going on to become the president. So now we have co-executive directors, and these are Xiaowei Wang and Thomas Stanzik. And they are going to be the new leadership for Ethereum Foundation. And Xiao served as researcher at Ethereum Foundation for 7 years and a contributor to the Beacon Chain as a community builder in Taiwan. And Thomas comes into the role with a development background as a visionary leader at Nethermind. So basically, was one of the people who was involved with setting up Nethermind to client and all the other stuff they do as well. Here they say where he has built an impressive talent recruitment and training pipeline and a highly functional organization. And then there's information here as well about Danny Ryan, which we're going to go to next. And it says Ethereum is evolving into a robust, permissionless and censorship-resistant base layer for global finance and software. And now Ethereum is going to get even bigger. So a whole lot of people were like quite happy with this. I think people were like wanted Danny Ryan in this position. But very soon after this announcement was made, Danny Ryan had an announcement as well, saying, "I'm thrilled to announce that I'm joining as a co-founder of Etherealize to help onboard the world to Ethereum. I'll be at the helm of the ship alongside Vivek and the incredible team he is building." And this was a really, really great announcement as well. And then Danny Ryan says, "I Etherealize, I intend to build a new Ethereum institution, a new Ethereum institution with real world Ethereum as its North Star. The world is ready to come on chain, and we're here to do the hard work necessary to make it happen." And then talking about what he's going to do at Etherealize sits as a confluence of real adoption, common sense regulation, ecosystem development, and critical R&D across L1, L2, and application layer. And then he says, "I'd like to congratulate the Ethereum Foundation on today's leadership announcement." And he's saying the future is bright, and people are just happy that Danny's back in an Ethereum position, with a lot of people sending their support to Danny. Now, I think this is absolutely wonderful. Etherealize is a group that I have huge expectations for. Vivek, whenever I've seen any tweets from him or seeing him on Bankless. No, he wasn't on Bankless. He was on Unchained with Laura Shin. Was absolutely fantastic. And I think there's going to be really, really good stuff now coming out of Etherealize. I really want to see Danny Ryan getting on Unchained as well and sharing his ideas and thoughts. Now, if you want to get some ideas and thoughts from Danny Ryan before then, Danny was at ETH Denver and he was talking about Ethereum's inflection point. So if you want to listen to what Danny had to say about that, then check out the link below and you can hear Danny speaking about Ethereum and his thoughts. And Tim Byko here had a really nice messaging saying that if we play our cards right, we'll remember today as one of the most consequential turning points in Ethereum's history. And then he mentions about how we have new founders, new co-executive directors, and also Danny Ryan joining Etherealize as well. So this was a really nice message, really great messaging, and again, a lot of support for Tim Byko here. And Tim Byko, of course, is one of the lead researchers at Ethereum Foundation. Sticking with Tim Byko here, this is an update from a few days ago, talking about the Holesky upgrade and the problems with that, and saying that the chain was in a better spot, but with validators producing 4 to 10 blocks per epoch, we think we can rescue the network. Fingers crossed. And then this was ideas of what's going to happen and how things are going to get fixed for Holesky. Well, Nixo had an update today, and this is where we stand right now. So she says, devs are still working on saving Holesky. Participation dropped like a rock after Friday's Hail Mary pass because nodes were struggling to stay in sync. We initially didn't see mass slashing for surround votes, but we want those validators to get slashed now. And then she says, in the meantime, Holesky shadow fork will help staking services test consolidations. In general, we need a place for feature testing. We should start a new testnet. And then update on the Pectra bug issues reported last week. And then that stuff's going to get covered in the All Core Devs meeting that's going to happen on Thursday this week. So she's just kind of like laying out the agenda for that. And that was the main stuff about Holesky. And then with Sepolia, says by this time Sepolia will have forked. So that fork is still on track for tomorrow. And says don't expect it to be nearly as exciting as Holesky. It's permission validated set, and the bug that affected Holesky is a very, very easy fix. And then with mainnet timing, so she said with reduced testing capabilities from Holesky's predicament, do we need to delay timing on mainnet? That's something that will be discussed on Thursday's call. And then from the learnings from Holesky, it's no small thing that we had an incident on testnet that we're still not able to fix. Client software acted differently than predicted when the network majority was wrong, and incident responses was disorganized. It'll be important to address that. So then the learnings from Holesky, this stuff that will be covered as well, is how do we create better processes to avoid this ever happening on mainnet? Do we need fire drills? Who leads incident responses in various cases? A larger conversation, but what learnings are consensus layer clients taking away? And then again, if we get to it, then there's stuff about Fusaka and Glamsterdam, and trying to get that stuff going as much as possible. Talking about Fusaka here, Vitalik came out with very, very strong signaling on what he wants, how he wants Fusaka to move, and he wants it to move fast. And he says for 2025, we need Fusaka on layer 1 with PIRDAS, ideally with 48 or 72 blob target limit. Let's aim to get Fusaka testnet with these blob parameters running the day after Pectra goes live. So Vitalik is really pushing the whole Ethereum dev community as a whole, saying that we need to move fast on this, we need to get developments going, and I really like this. Like, whether it's going to happen or not is yet to be seen. Here Stanimir said, nah, client teams are stretched thin with Pectra's rollout, and spinning up Fusaka testnet with a radically higher blob count the next day demands parallel work. So maybe not the next day, but maybe the next week, we might be able to get something. But the idea and I think the spirit here is something that I'm really impressed by, and I'm really hoping that we'll see that happen. Okay, we mentioned the ByBit hack earlier, and we got this update here. I'm sorry I don't have a better source. I wasn't able to find one, but the ByBit hackers have laundered all 500,000 ETH that they stole, and they did that through ThorChain, which is a decentralized bridging protocol, and moving from different layer ones. And what they did was they deposited their ETH into ThorChain on Ethereum, and then they were able to withdraw it as BTC on the Bitcoin network. So that they processed $5.9 billion in transaction volume, and they collected $5.5 million in fees during the laundering process. And then this article from BSCN Headlines kind of made it look like they could have done anything about it. And Amin here had a point saying this is a smear tactic to imply the protocol ThorChain is responsible for the crimes of those who use it. This kind of lie was used to push the US Treasury to ban Americans from using Tornado Cash protocol, and in principle no different than calling for Ethereum to be banned because criminals also use it. So I just wanted to clarify that the source I wanted to use for covering the news had some problems with it according to Amin. The main gist, the reason why I'm mentioning it is because that ETH has now been sold. So yeah, that is a whole lot of ETH to sell. So yeah. Okay. Just a small matter, another thing happened where on Sunday, Donald Trump released a tweet saying that he wants to create a crypto strategic reserve, and that will include XRP, Solana, and Solana's Sol and Cardano's ADA tokens. And there was no mention of ETH or BTC. So people just why is ETH not being mentioned? So here in the Rocket Pool community, people in the bad mood that they are got really pessimistic because Donald Trump put out this tweet where he didn't mention ETH. He says, we're making America great again by holding this crypto reserve, and this will hold XRP and Sol and ADA. And those tokens went flying, and it was only a few minutes, 45 minutes later, that he clarified and Donald Trump clarified, and he said that obviously BTC and ETH will be included as well, as other valuable cryptocurrencies. They will be at the heart of the reserve. He says, I love Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that then started moving the price for ETH up, but it didn't move up as much as, XRP and ADA, especially, and Sol. But if we have a look over here, it went from somewhere around 2,200 to around $2,550, which was a decent sized pump. From the beginning of that pump to the end of it, it seemed like it moved around, I want to say, $450, which was about 20% pump, which was pretty good. However, that has all been wiped out. As you can see me moving across the chart on Binance, not only have we wiped it out, we've gone lower than where we were before, all the way down to $2,002 on Binance. And since then, sadly, we hit a new low for this period of the market of $1,993. And then it has bounced back since then a little bit to around $2,150. 2173, sorry, right now. And it actually went above 2,200 for a few minutes there, but since then it's retraced a little bit. So why has the price gone down so much? Well, that's because of Donald Trump going on his trade war stuff and putting in the tariffs into place with Canada and Mexico, and that basically wiped out everything in the markets. And here, Omid had a really interesting point about the crypto strategic reserve, saying I have very distinct memory during the 2008 financial crash of a heated debate with a free market conservative friend who worked at Morgan Stanley. He says, I was arguing against the ongoing bank bailouts and he was defending them. Amazingly, at one point he quoted Atlas Shrugged, to which I replied, dude, have you even read the book? The whole point of the book is to warn against the dangers of big business getting in bed with the government and politicians picking winners and losers as they do when they start bailing out banks. Lehman Brothers was the loser, everyone else was the winner. Taxpayers and working class people were the losers, and GS bonus pool recipient were winners, etc. He says, what I learned then was my friend that my friend was the rule, not the exception. Just as there's no atheists in foxholes, there are no free market conservatives in a financial crisis. What is happening in crypto today gives me the same chilling feeling. If you work in an industry that values individual sovereignty, privacy, credible neutrality, fairness, and censorship resistance, then the last thing you want is government bureaucrats picking coins to go into a strategic reserve. Maybe you are far too on the inside or too jaded by what happened under the last admin to realize it. Here's some perspective. You know how ridiculous it sounds for a libertarian to use Ayn Rand to defend bank bailouts? That's you defending a strategic crypto reserve. Now, what's really interesting here is just as much as you might be happy with Donald Trump buying crypto today, you should realize that, in 3.5, 4 years' time, when the next president might be a Democrat who's anti-crypto Democrat, potentially, they could be selling all that just as readily. So, be careful of the bedfellows that you wish for. It might not end up being a good thing overall for you. Okay, cheers. Here we're going to finish this episode with news of the Raffle, and this is the Raffle for February. So cheers here had an update saying the leader count is ready, and no one had any objections to that. So let's have a look at the actual Raffle here, and we have total leaderboard count for Sneaky with 23, Samus with 20, me with 11, Halululo, S-Jaws, Blue AVM, Dr. Doofus, Spartan, Kevster, Jasper, and we had about 23 contributors making those contributions. So thank you to all of those people. As always, I'm going to copy and paste this information into the Raffle tool that Hippocrates made for me. So that's the information that has been pasted. Now when I press go, it's going to spit out 10 names. Of course, if I am one of those names, then you can skip past me. However, if I'm not one of those names, then the top 9 people will get $100 each, and then the 10th person to get $100 will be Cheers for making the list. So let's have a look at who won the raffle this month. So Blue AVM is first, Sneaky Ninja Guy is second, then me third, so I don't win the prize, so you skip me. Then there's Samus, Dr. Doofus, Schifrin, Kevster, Spartan, Genux, and Patches. So that brings up the top 10. So if your name is on there, I'll be reaching out to you soon with information about you getting your $100. You should be getting that soon because I feel like I'm on top of it this time. But on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely day. Once again, I'm sorry that I wasn't around for almost the last week. I was sick. My family was sick. Everyone was sick. It was absolutely horrible. I was hoping to get an episode out yesterday, but there was just too much information, and I was really struggling to get the work done in time. So instead, you get an episode today, and hopefully I'll be back fully on track tomorrow. So once again, thanks, and I'll see you then. Bye.